Next, from Philadelphia, we head to the Democrat National Convention and talk to a few Illinois politicians to get their thoughts on the event. This runs about 10 minutes.
Tell me, how do you feel about the convention so far?
Well, this is an historic convention. We've nominated the first woman to be President of the United States in our 200-plus year history. A long time coming and well overdue. I'm very grateful to be a Hillary delegate and look forward to working hard for her between now and November.
What moment of the convention so far stands apart for you in terms of maximum emotional impact?
Well, I was very impressed with the First Lady's speech night before last. I thought it was very, very good, not only as praise for Hillary, but talking about Donald Trump without ever having mentioned his name, and particular her line about, they go low and we go high. We take the high road. And also her call to bring the Sanders delegates into the fold in the same way that Hillary encouraged her delegates to come into the fold behind Barack. So that was really impressive. And then last night, President Clinton is a policy wonk, but that was not a policy wonk speech. It was very personal. And his sharing with us what Hillary has done with her life, professionally and personally, was really moving and was a revelation to a lot of us who didn't know the breadth of her experience or her early commitment to social justice.
And so what are you hoping for in terms of the unification of the Democratic Party? Do you think the Bernie folks in Illinois anyway are fully on board?
The Bernie folks in Illinois are fully on board. I hope that will be the case across the country.
Tell me, what do you think of the convention so far?
I think it's wonderful. I think it's a stark contrast to what we saw last week in Cleveland. I think what we saw then was a group that were trying to tell us that our country wasn't great and that we were in decline. And I think what we saw here, what we're seeing here in Philadelphia, is a celebration of how great our country actually is. And we can certainly do better. But you know what? We've got the strongest military in the world. We have the strongest economy in the world. We have the best educated population in the world. We're going to overcome our issues. And I think it shows that we know that there's a plan. And you see the difference with the lineups too, with the speakers and the messages from each. And it was almost like on a different planet and what we were hearing. I think you saw people who are optimistic, know what needs to be done, and are forward thinking. And it was really fun to be here and to be part of it.
So what does it mean to you that Democrats were the party to nominate the first woman in the history of the United States?
We're also the first party to nominate the first man of color. The world's changing. We need to move with it. I think the Democrats are the progressive party, and they understand that we need to be more inclusive. And divisions only help those that are in power and only help those on top keep other people down. So we need to embrace everyone and understand that this is a new world. And I couldn't tell you how proud I am to have been on the floor to nominate the first woman to run for president in the United States. It was a very emotional moment for many of us. And I just can't wait till it becomes a reality in November.
Dan Johnson, you were a Bernie delegate.
I am, yes.
So how do you feel about what happened on Monday and kind of where things have lined up?
So I feel great about the convention. It's exciting, it's electric, it's amazing. I'd say that Bernie's second place finish has been the most successful second place finish in party history in terms of impact and how the party has been transformed, continues to change. I would say, so Bernie first I think it was appalling to me that anyone who's on the floor would interrupt or boo another speaker. I think that's absolutely disrespectful, and I don't think there's any place in a civilized gathering of political allies. Having said that, I think the context is a lot of Bernie folks, the well-intentioned ones, because there were like 50 out of 1,900 that are just inappropriate. Putting those aside, I think there were hundreds of Bernie folks who are new to politics, new to the convention, and felt that they came here to celebrate the accomplishments of the political revolution. And like every convention, it's about the nominee. So when they came in and it was sort of a Hillary show, to folks that are new to it felt, well, that's not appropriate, that's not right, where's the space for Bernie? And so you kind of felt this energy on Monday, like when's the chance to share the stage, share the spotlight? So for the first 3 or 4 or 5 hours, that didn't really happen. And so when Bernie came, then there was this explosion of energy. That, yes, that's right. And it felt like the first chance they had to say, especially in light of the atrociously bad judgment of Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the ridiculously old regime that were aggressive campaigners for Hillary Clinton, which was stupid, and I'm so glad she's no longer the chair of the party. So in light of that, where there's a feeling of, hey, the party infrastructure is suppressing the Bernie campaign, and in some of their minds, maybe we really should have won, which isn't true, but that's how they suspected it. They didn't know it, but they suspected it. There was this demand to release their energy, which is why the roll call on Tuesday was so cathartic. Because there was a chance to take an hour and 20 minutes, every state. The Bernie folks and Hillary folks got to celebrate their accomplishments. And importantly, Bernie folks got to see there is no grand conspiracy. It was a fair contest. Hillary won, Bernie lost, but it was the first time that those that suspected there was something amiss, something untoward, they got to see transparently, no, there was a contest. Superdelegates did exist, unfortunately, right? They're part of it, and the votes are the votes. And one final thing on that. The first time you got a lot of Bernie energy on the floor on Monday is when Diane Russell, the state rep from Maine, who led the superdelegate reform charge, got to speak. And that's an extraordinary victory for small d democracy within the Democratic Party. And I think that was the first chance Bernie folks got to say, look what we did, we're making this place even better than it was. And still, of those 50, some of them still boo, right? So, and my final point, second final point, Bernie attracted independents, right? Bernie attracted people that weren't Democrats. But some of the people he attracted are people that, for whatever reason, have chosen they're never going to associate with the Democratic Party. And a few of those happen to be delegates.
So if you have one word that you would use to describe the convention at this point, what would it be?
Electric. It's just electric. It's exciting, awesome.
Fantastic.